What's up, everybody? This is Tempest Wing. The time is upon us for episode 1 of the Rift Herald, the premier NA LCS podcast. Now, I'm done with the roster rundowns. I'm done with the other bullshit. It's time to get down and dirty. Week 1 is upon us in a mere amount of days. The NA LCS 2018 spring split will begin, and I've been taking notes. I've looked at all the matchups in week 1, and my goal each week is to watch all the matches, either live or the VODs, write down my thoughts, write down my predictions, see if there's any trends, anything unexpected or very expected, all of the above, bingo, bango, bongo, write it all down. And for this week, I thought I'd kick it off. We don't have any matches. We don't know. We haven't really seen any of these teams play. So I thought I would just do some predictions purely based on rosters and, what I think, how I think they'll do. Unfortunately, I won't be able to speak too much to the meta or the champion picks or too much of the strategies. We'll have to wait for week 1 to roll in to see how that goes, and hopefully I'll be able to do a good job of breaking that shit down. So, let's kick it off with the first match. All right, so this first matchup I have flagged as the match of the week. I think pretty much anyone who's been following these roster moves can agree. We got TL versus TSM. Definitely the two biggest hyped teams coming into week 1. I'll have the rosters on the screen so you can see that because I'm staring. I have them written down right here. I'm looking at them. Now, I might be biased because TL, that's my team this split. I'm saying TL's going to pull out the win over TSM, and here's why. I think Mike Young in the jungle, I think that's the big question mark for TSM. Sven and Miffy, definitely the better bot lane, best bot lane in the West, hands down. But in a game where you've got Impact and Pobelter on your team, if you're Xmithy, you're probably playing around bot. Doublelift and Ole, they want to make plays. Doublelift wants to get ahead, smash lane. Ole wants to make some plays as well. So I think Xmithy is going to be a better catalyst playing around the bot lane than Mike Young, even though he has better resources to work with. I'm not sure how he's going to do. He's basically a rookie, and he's playing with all new people. He was on P1, and he looked pretty hot when he was hot. He looked pretty cold when he was cold. We got to see how TSM is going to use him. I think he could be molded into a very good jungler, but if that is the case, it will take time, and it's easy to say week 1. They don't have as much preparation. They're going in first split, and they're going against probably their toughest opponent first. So no warm up, no games, just getting down to business. So. So I'm giving this one to TL for the reasons I just described. All right, let's keep the ball rolling. Moving on to the next matchup, we got 100 Thieves versus Optic. And my main takeaway here is I just don't think Optic is a very good team. They don't have a lot of star power, and the stars that they do not align. Very poor synergy on this team. Or not poor synergy, but it seems like they'd have poor synergy because none of these people have played together other than Zig and Arrow, and that's a top laner and an AD carry working together. I mean, they're gonna be on opposite sides of the map for most of the beginning of the game, anyways. So, and another one is I don't know how Arrow and Lemon are gonna work together. Honestly, I think if you look at the bot lanes, So 100 Thieves has an interesting bot lane, I think, because Aphromoo is coming in, from playing with Stixxay for 2 years, and now he's getting kind of another young rookie AD carry, Cody Sun, to mold under his tutelage. So he's used to working with some younger guys, and also Cody Sun coming in. from Ole. Ole and Afro, I think are kind of similar. They're both playmakers. They're both veterans, more experienced. I think this should be a good fit. I think that Cody Sun will be able to experience some growth playing with Aframu, sort of as Stixay did. And I'm just this optic bot lane arrow elimination that looks like one of the weaker bot lanes in the league. I'm just not sure how they're going to mesh. If there's going to be a language barrier or not. Yeah, and I think that 100 Thieves definitely has some question marks as well. Both Ryu and Meteos in the past have had sort of motivation issues and have kind of been in and out of P1 for that very reason. But I think this comes down to Someday. I think Someday is the best top laner in the league, and he's going against Zig, who has shined at times, but overall has been pretty average to below average. So I think if 100 Thieves, their win condition, they play around Someday, cave in the top side of the map, and there's not too much Optic can do about it. So I have 100 Thieves winning this match. So for the next matchup, we have Clutch Gaming versus Golden Guardians. I have pretty high hopes for Clutch Gaming and pretty low hopes for, well, low hopes sounds bad. That makes it sound like I hope they do bad. Low expectations for Golden Guardians, so I'm having Clutch win this game. Both of these teams have rookie players. For Clutch, it's Solo in the top lane, and for Golden Guardians, it's definitely in the bot lane. But I think what it really comes down to is just that Clutch already has a lot of innate synergy. They're 3/5 of the Envy roster with Lyra and bot lane Paulo Hakuho. And you could kind of say that, maybe, I'd say Clutch has the better bot lane. I'm not sure if it's going to make too much of a difference. On the other side, Lorlo probably better than Solo. Also, probably doesn't make much of a difference. But I think, mid-jungle, Lyra Febivin, I think that's going to be really strong. I think Lyra's going to know how to play around his team. He's already used to Apollo Hakuho. Hopefully it won't be too much of a language barrier. And in general, it just looks like Golden Guardians maybe doesn't have that strong of a roster. I think Contracts is going to be pretty good. High has played with Contracts in the past, but you're isolating him from his usual crowd. He's playing with a bunch of new players. Luckily they are all relatively young players, so hopefully they listen to him. But I think Golden Guardians will improve, but week one coming in cold, I really don't expect too much from them. I have pretty low opinions of Lorlo and Matt after seeing them on Team Liquid. They just, especially Matt, just looked pretty, his confidence was pretty low, and he just kind of fed a lot. And Lorlo was not bad, not good. So that won't be enough. And then I think Lyra, going back to Clutch, Febivin, easily one of the better mid laners in Europe, looks to be probably at the top of the pack in NA, up there with Jensen and Bjergsen. And Lyra also very high up there on the jungle. So I just think man for man, Clutch Gaming probably has better players, probably has better synergy. So I'm giving them the edge on this one. All right. So I had TSM TL as my match of the week. This is my disaster of the week, my shit show of the week, my clusterfuck of the week. Echo Fox versus FlyQuest. I have pretty low opinions of both of these teams. I think Echo Fox has a better upside, but also a worse downside. So I guess that means they have a lower floor and a higher ceiling. So it's crazy the variance this team could have. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm gonna I'm gonna flip the coin on this one, and I'm gonna give it to Echo Fox just because I think FlyQuest. I mean, I did my power rankings like over a month ago, and I said that at that time, I mean, my opinion has changed a little bit, but sticking with my guns, I said FlyQuest was the worst team coming into this split. We've got two rookies. Well, Stunts played a little bit in the LCS, but basically two rookies in Stunt and Onda. You also have 2 Koreans, Flame and Fly, and then you got Wild Turtle, who apparently this is all built around. I personally think this team should play around Flame. That's my opinion. I think he's definitely more consistent and a more solid player than Wild Turtle. That's just me. But the thing with Echo Fox that I realized is, so they have Huni Dardoch is basically their make or break, and I feel like this could either go really well or really poorly. Like if they fucking hate each other and don't want to play, can't play well, then they're just gonna feed. But they could also be an explosive dynamic duo because the rest of this team is fairly average and meh in my opinion. I mean, we'll have to see how this goes, but I want to give it to Echo Fox for this one, just because I think that I think both these teams are going to be figuring their shit out in week 1, and I think just because Echo Fox is a higher, I mean, will they reach their ceiling? Maybe, but I just think that if they can triumph over anyone, it'll be FlyQuest. So that's my breakdown on that one. All right, Riot definitely rigged some of these because this is like match of the week, mini match of the week. CLG versus C9. You know, if most people think TL, TSM are top 2, these are probably 3 and 4 for most people. Certainly for me. And I'm slightly going against my power rankings here, which again are a little outdated, but I'm gonna say that C9 beats CLG, and that is because CLG I need to see a lot of, whereas C9 I think is fairly a known quantity. Although I am sort of banking on the fact that Svensgaren can basically, now that he's free from the TSM prison, he's gonna become an aggressive jungler again, and he's gonna fuck people up with Jensen. So maybe that's a little hypocritical for me to say, but for CLG, it looks like they do have a lot of good parts that could work together. But I'm not convinced that Stixxay Biofrost will be particularly good. I mean, I'm not convinced that they'll be better than Stixxay Aphromoo were, and I already thought that Stixxay Aphromoo was worse than Sneaky Smoothie, so I'm going to go ahead and say that I think C9 has the better bot lane here. They definitely have the better mid laner, although Huhi has improved drastically. But yeah, I think the X factor is honestly Reignover. Coming off of a year, he basically 1 year ago he was considered the best jungler in North America after his year on Immortals. Then he has a year on TL where he kind of looks like shit because everyone looked like shit. So was that his fault? Was it just the team he was on? We'll have to see. So I think CLG has a pretty good maybe they'll take a little while to get it together, but you've got Darshan versus a rookie in Licorice in the top lane. So that's but then C9 has the bottom lane advantage, I would say. So maybe that kind of cancels out. But yeah, I mean, to get down to it without rambling on too much, I think I'm hoping that Jensen Svensgaren is kind of the dynamic dynamic Danish duo, and they just bust open the map and beat CLG. So that's basically my basis for that. I agree it is sort of going out on a limb, but we'll have to see. So now we are done with day 1 of week 1, and now we are going to move in to day 2, where the matchups, unfortunately, are not as good for the most part, but what can you expect when Riot pretty much stacked the deck for day 1? So let's get into the first match, which probably not too much to talk about. We got Optic versus TL, Team Liquid. I predict that Team Liquid will win because I think they're a much better team. In the odd event that Optic does win, I was racking my brain trying to think of a scenario where Optic could maybe beat TL. It would have to be. I'm guessing it would have to be Power of Evil. I mean, Power of Evil is sort of he's coming after coming out from playing with Max Lore, which is a jungler that definitely helped out set him up to succeed. And now he's playing with Acadian, who we know is super aggressive and can get leads, but not good at closing them all the time. So there'd have to be if somehow this catalyst can if these two can work together. But, I mean that's honestly a stretch in my opinion, but that's their win condition. I'm not going to talk too much about TL because I kind of already talked about them before, but I mean definitely has a better bot lane, probably a better more consistent, solid top laner, probably a better jungler. Mid maybe goes even. I don't know. But the good thing about Pobelter is he's never going to do bad. And PoE actually might be one of the better mid laners in this league. We'll have to see. Man, mid lane is so stacked now. Yeah, he might just be mid of the field at this point. I mean, you've got so many good mid laners, but yeah, if PoE can get ahead, because I just don't think this Optic bot lane is going to do anything. I don't really think Zig is going to do anything. So, let's not harp on this too much. I'm giving it to TL pretty easy. Okay, here's another shit stomp. We got FlyQuest versus TSM. I don't think anyone in their right mind would have FlyQuest winning this, including me, because I think TSM is going to win. So, this is the team that's supposedly built around Wild Turtle, and it's going against the best bot lane of the West with Sven and Mithy. So Wild Turtle's going against his former team, and I think he's just going to get put in the dumpster. Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at this roster. I think, I would say Flame. I think Flame is better than Hanser. At least last split, that was the case for me. But other than that, I mean, Onda, Onda and Stunt, I just haven't seen. Well, I haven't seen any of Onda. I haven't really seen too much of Stunt either. So, and I haven't seen. Wow. Okay, so I haven't seen like any of these players play, let alone together. Because Fly was in. I maybe watched Fly back when he was Korea, but that was so long ago. I just don't like it when you have two Koreans, two rookies, and then Wild Turtle. The communication is just going to be so bad. I feel like. I mean, I think that's why I put them last. I just looked at it and I was like, I can confidently say that one of these players will play pretty well, and that's Flame. And you know it might not matter if this, if Sven and Mithy are running wild and Bjergsen's running wild, and who knows. And yeah, so I think TSM wins this one hands down. Moving on down the line. Okay, this is probably, I mean, I definitely had the most to write about this one. I would say on day 2, this is the best matchup. It's very interesting to me. We have CLG versus 100 Thieves. Where do I start? Let's start with the bot lanes, because obviously Aframu playing against his former protege, Stixay, with his new protege, Cody Sun. It's like when you break up with your girlfriend who's a 7 and then start dating your new girlfriend who's an 8. So, a little awkward. Except I don't know if Cody Sun would be an 8 and Stixay would be a 7. So maybe that analogy doesn't work. But anyways, sort of the old guard versus the new guard in the bot lane. I'm not sure. That honestly might be a wash there. I think it's all about the top side of the map because, as I said before, I think Someday is probably the best top laner in the league. And he's going against Darshan, who thinks he's the best top laner in the league. So this could go one of two ways. Well, it could go a lot of ways because this game is very complex. I mean, if 100 Thieves, if they know what they're doing, they're playing around Someday, because I think CLG is going into this knowing that Darshan is going to be at a disadvantage, or they're thinking Darshan is going to be fine and they're going to help him beat Someday anyways. So I think it's going to be top focused, and then you look at, I'm basically looking at like the 3v3. Darshan ran over Huhi, Someday Meteos Ryu. I'm looking at that. And although Someday is probably the best player like in this game, except for maybe Huhi, I think that CLG will be able to sort of neutralize that threat, and they'll be able to play well together. I think Reignover is going to slot into this team better maybe than Medios will on 100 Thieves. I was willing to give C9 the edge over CLG, but I think 100 Thieves, it looks like a strong roster on paper, but I'm just not really sure how it's going to go. But I think the bottom line is, even though Someday is better than Darshan, I think that CLG, I think it's like they'll either be like, oh, Darshan's going to lose to Someday, so let's help him, or Darshan's going to be like, nah, guys, help! I'm definitely going to beat Someday, so gank for me so I can, win lane or whatever, and then crush him. So I think that's how it's going to go, and I think the bot lanes are kind of a wash, but I'm interested to see how they play against each other, just because of the whole Stixay Afro thing and whatever. So that'll be an interesting matchup. But yeah, I'm really excited for this game. I think this will be almost in a day of what looks like almost duds matchups. This one will be good. Okay, so now we have Golden Guardians versus C9, or as I like to call them, C9 Academy versus C9. Guess who I think is going to win? It's C9. This is another one where, so you have C9 has Licorice, which is a rookie. GG has Deathly in the bot lane with Matt. Deathly's a rookie. So you could say maybe Lorlo is better than Licorice. Top lane favors GG, bot lane favors C9. I just think C9's core, C9 just has so much experience. Like Jensen, Sneaky, Smoothie obviously have played together for years now. Throwing in Svenskeren, I'm confident on that. I think he's going to pop off on C9. And Golden Guardians, I'd say their best player is Contracts, who, is he better than Svenskeren? Maybe, but it's like I just think High versus Jensen, that's usually a matchup that goes in Jensen's favor. Jensen can outlane pretty much anybody, except for maybe Bjergsen, but who knows? So yeah, I honestly didn't write that much on this one. I'm giving it to C9. I don't think Golden Guardians. Honestly, like I've heard pretty good. I don't want to overhype Licorice because he's a rookie, but I've heard good things about him, and I maybe it's I think that even if he's worse than Lorlo, the skill gap is less than the difference between Sneaky and Smoothie and Deathly and Matt. As I said earlier, I don't think too highly of Matt, and just Deathly, I haven't really heard anything about him. So, whereas I think Sneaky and Smoothie, I think Sneaky's got some competition as best AD carry. Smoothie definitely in contention for one of the best supports. So I think they. And then if you throw Svenskeren in there too, because if you think about it, Svenskeren played around bot. That would be pretty good. Then again, you got Contracts. I don't know. I'm going back and forth, but I just think C9 is better in general. So that's going to be my consensus there. All right. Let's go to the final matchup, which is Echo Fox versus Clutch Gaming. Now, I had Echo Fox triumphing over FlyQuest because I had no idea how FlyQuest is going to fit together, and even their parts seem pretty weak. So I had Echo Fox triumphing, but I do not think they will be able to do so versus Clutch. I think Clutch has too many good players. I think Huni and Dardoch. Dardoch's going to have to go up against Lyra in the jungle. I think that's going to be a formidable opponent. I think Lyra can probably play around bot lane or Febivin, or try to bail out solo. But I'm thinking Lyra plays around bot lane here, because I think the Huni Dardoch thing. I think they'll definitely try to be buddy, but I'm just not sure. I think Clutch is. They're playing against Clutch instead of FlyQuest. I think Clutch looks like a much better team. We'll have to fucking see, but I guess I kind of burned out here at the end. I didn't write too much about this one either. I guess there is a snowball's chance in hell Huni and Dardoch synergize well, but I'm going with Clutch for this one, and yeah. So that's the week in review. And thanks for watching if you've made it to this point. Sorry if things were a little disjointed. I actually recorded the entire thing all at once, and then the audio, for whatever reason, on the recording didn't work. So, starting over. So I recorded it in chunks this time. I just did it game by game, and tried to recap a lot of what I said. So sorry if this episode was a little lackluster for that reason. Also because all of this is purely speculative on rosters, so there's only really so much to talk about. Next week, after I watch all the games, hopefully I can talk more about champion pools and macro strats and all that shit. So thank you so much for watching again. This is episode 1 of, the Rift Herald, which is the premier NA LCS podcast, although it wasn't much of a podcast today because I recorded it in chunks. Next week, hopefully it'll be a proper podcast. I'll sort out that audio shit that whatever happened, and please stay tuned. This will be weekly. I don't know if it'll come out every Monday because that's pretty soon, but definitely next week at some point once I have my shit together, look for another episode. There'll be one every week, as I said. Please comment. I want to know what you think, what your predictions are, especially if you disagree with me, because that's where things get interesting. As long as you have good reasons why, I'll listen. Maybe there'll be better reasons than mine. You never know. And then I'll be like, shit, this guy is right. But, yep. I'll read your comments as long as you don't flame me. And if you flame me, I'll probably still read your comments and just not really have anything to say other than, yeah, all right. So please subscribe to my channel if you want to follow along with the Rift Herald podcast and what other videos I may throw your way. So that's all I got.